backwards, and allow time for an interview if you needed it. Personally, I think 1 week's long enough, because again, this is I'm gonna turn it again, this is a $10 or $15, $20,000 project, it's not 50, so it should be something that someone looks at and says, you know, I can estimate this real quick. They already know it's a lost leader.
Right.
Yeah. And so they know they're gonna lose money on it, it's to get their foot in the door, so they're gonna just wanna pound this estimate out. So I think it'd be okay if we get it out on Friday.
And that gets us, shooting to the 4th allows us enough time to get that construction manager up to speed to start participating in the process of the design and getting estimates done in time for our timeline at the end of October with options.
Yeah, he's going to have a few options that have to be pricing out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because by the time we get them on board, we'll have already had our first community forum going through, you know, the 4 options, 5 options, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be wanting to pare that down, and that's the best moment to have them involved.
Right. Right.
For the 1 or 2 that we reduced
Right,
to. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That we sugared off to.
Yep, all of this sounds good.
I'm in agreement.
Yep, and this is what you do with these, with the specifics on the wording. At the timeline, though a little bit snug, feels good to everybody. I think this is good. We should bring it to the full board, the school board meeting later.
So
The only thing we'd ask is when you bring to the full school board, if there's any wording that you have a boilerplate that you saw. I don't know if the rest of your bids ever have then another 5 pages of the stuff that just meets the weight criteria, but this is the best. Okay.
No. Okay. Do we have to approve this to bring to the board?
We could just, so people can see us being active and following the rules.
Do we have a motion to approve it?
I have a motion to approve, go ahead.
Go ahead, a motion.
A motion to approve the request for quote for the construction manager estimating services to be issued on Friday, August 23rd, 2019.
Second.
We have a second by Sean. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous?
All right.
All right, we're up to upcoming meetings and community forums. We kind of went through that with our timeline, but let's review the timeline one more time. Go over those important dates.
I think the 2 big ones, right? September 12th, October 30th.
So to set it, to reinforce expectations, there's new faces in the audience here. Again, this will be up on the site in the next day or 2. September 12th, Banwell is coming back with multiple concepts. There's been different discussion about what those could look like over the last 25 years. They're coming back with basic concepts and saying, okay, this is some pros to this is some cons to this idea. And then that is going to be community input on this, because it's going to shape our community, whatever choice that we end up narrowing it down to. So in order for the way this works is that first forum it's our second forum, but the first one with any designs or drawings, that is concepts, pros and cons, feedback. It is not pricing. That is not how this works. You have to get the concepts out. You know, for example, if there's an addition to this school and become a K through 12, that changes the whole nature of the town. If there's a new elementary school wherever, that's a different one. If we fix the old one, there's all kinds of other ramifications. So the concepts help us work through that as a community and as a subcommittee. Then that feedback from the community drives for the CIP to reduce that to the one that is the clear front runner, or maybe 2 that we want to take a look at. That's where the quoting expert is going to help bring the reality of the pricing into that, so that we can make a fully informed decision to get it to 1. That's how this works. So hoping, for those of you that have heard that 8 times already, that was a different way of saying it, but for people who didn't know, that's why you want to make an impact on your community. Bring your friends and anybody who's interested to the 12th. We're going to have it here in the gym. It's a chance to learn and then lend your voice and help us make a decision to what we bring as a final choice to the community. All right?
The only other pieces I have there were, we talked about the website. We are going to send that timeline to the Intertown. You know, there was kind of requests for people that still don't use online, which I get, we want to read the newspaper, it'll be in the newspaper. And I'm gonna ask actually Sean and Jody, I know Jody does a weekly letter, if she could just maybe put at the end of it, sort of upcoming meetings, capital improvement meetings, school board meetings, and
You're on for our open house, correct?
I'm on both your open houses. So just, we want to try to just continue to reinforce our meeting dates and times.
So then, it'll be on the side of the gym,
Yep,
do the signage at the end, the stop sign at the dump.
yep.
That got a lot of people. Those kinds of, all those activities after tonight can ensue, correct? For signage and
We will get.
Facebook.
We will get Facebook signs, postings.
Turn that whole thing on.
Yeah, we'll do it all.
Emphasizing the 12th.
The 12th and the 30th.
Great.
And I think also just with what Jody said, the whole CIP process dates, as we sort of lay them out in that timeline. So Jody, I know you do a weekly letter, maybe just at the bottom, hey, just upcoming meetings or events.
Sure.
Right, and we'll figure something out at the high school. No, that's quick.
Does that work for you?
Oh, no, that's great. The 30th is gonna be the, so if you miss the 12th, the 30th, you're gonna be coming in on the pricing end of it.
Likely two.
Right.
With definitely with pricing.
We're hoping not more than 2.
Yeah.
For a lot of different reasons. We're hopeful we'll have it down to a couple at the most.
Well, that's, you know, having it down to a couple allows our estimator to really focus.
Really to fine tune that number so that we have realistic numbers to talk about.
And that's really defined in actually the RFQ. You know, it talks about preliminary in early October, and then in December, really final estimates are due to us, so that we can put something together potentially for a warrant and have that prepared for the board in January.
January meeting.
Right.
Yep. All right,
All
square
right.
on that, Captain?
All good on the upcoming meeting. Now we got the review the FAQs.
So,
You had.
I just wanted to throw
Oh,
in.
you wanted to throw it out, I'm
And
sorry.
let me
Yep,
just,
yep.
I was just gonna do a
I know
thank
you've done a lot of work
No,
on
I
this.
was just gonna give a quick.
So, for those of you who aren't used to the acronym of FAQ, it's for frequently asked questions, what ends up happening is we've had some of the same people at meetings. Sometimes we have one person in a meeting, they don't come back again. We can keep answering the same questions to a wonderfully highly engaged, like 56 people that came tonight. But we gotta always be thinking about the rest of the community that isn't able to attend the meetings, is getting up to speed. So when you have these projects, you filter the questions through a single source so that they don't get lost. So they go through the superintendent. So any of the questions are gonna filter through Russ so that they don't, so if Andy gets asked a question at the gas station, I get a question, different question or the same question while I'm at Hannaford's, that's one stop and done. That doesn't serve the rest of the community. So what we do is there's questions, we send them to Russ so that there's a filter so they can go into a frequently asked questions document. Then you can check it on the site. So we're gonna review this now, but the driver for questions is not so much in forums or in meetings or other things. Yes, it's great to have the engagement, but we need to catch all of those questions so that we can answer all of them and have them in one single place so that people can go back and look at them. So there's quite a bit of information in this. The FAQ would get updated again as we get other rounds of questions. I just wanted to set the stage of why this is so important to the project.
Living document that will keep growing.
Yeah.
So I just wanna, just wanna be clear, not every question that will be asked
No.
will be on the FAQ.
Right.
Just
No,
being clear on
frequently
that.
asked.
Frequently asked.
website?
And everything will be on the website, yes.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to thank Kerry, because when I was away on vacation, Kerry started this process and she helped me really get this going, so I appreciate her
High five.
assistance. And so they're in front of you, if you folks are good with them, that'll start, they're general right now in nature, obviously, because we don't have a specific project in front of us.
Right.
But really just making sure that you folks are okay to have me post these.
I reviewed them earlier, they look.
There's just a couple of dates that are incorrect.
Okay. If you wanna just send them to me, Jody, or just tell me what they are, you have it in mind.
So we didn't bring 56 copies. Some of the questions are, what is the role of the school board's capital improvement committee? How can I stay informed about the status of the project? Why has the school board hired an architect firm and project manager to conduct a full evaluation of our district needs? What are the space and safety concerns associated with our current district facilities that we're trying to address? How will needs versus wants be evaluated? Sunapee has seen a declining student enrollment. Why are we considering such costly renovations and or new construction to expand our facilities as a result? Why are we not considering closing the high school and moving our students to a regional district school? What are the differences between this project and the failed March 2019 warrant article? What is the difference in the life expectancy of a new building versus that of renovated? Will the proposals incorporate green design? What are the consequences if we do not do something to address our facility needs? Those have been the most common questions to all of us so far. So that's, like you said, living document. This will get updated as we keep hearing more other frequently asked questions. But this will be up on the site. How set expectations for the community, Russ, tomorrow? What's realistic to get this up?
We'll get it up tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. So a new schedule tomorrow, a new day FAQ.
All questions should be directed to the SAU to Russ. So any questions that you have, and you wanna maybe you get them posted if it's a frequently asked question, but the question should be filtered through Russ at the SAU. And his he's got his email address right on the agenda. Everybody should have an agenda, I think.
If not, we have some here.
If not, we have extra ones, so that's how the questions will get answered. All right, are we all good with the frequently asked questions?
I think it's a great,
They look great.
Okay.
really helpful to folks, especially some that are just getting up to speed now. You can read through that in 5 minutes and have a good
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Good.
Other business issues needing to be addressed. I know, Russ, you said there was.
So one other thing, you folks asked for us to take a look at the outstanding long-term debt service from the town and put that in a different format. And so Kelly was able to do that, and so I'll hand that to you guys. And if you have questions of it, I think really the page that, to me, that really, I think is most valuable, it's all valuable, really the back of the first page where it talks about the maturity dates.
Yeah.
And it's in the annual report, page 28, if anybody wants.
So this is right off the
information.
town's annual report. We
Yes.
didn't come up with the numbers, this is right off of their report. We just put it into a bar graph for you, or Kelly put it into a bar graph for you.
Yeah, that format's gonna be helpful on the site. for
Yeah.
people.
Would you like to get that up?
Yeah, I'd love to have that up.
The maturity date one.
Yeah,
Yes.
great snapshot.
Yep.
There's a few things that, there's no golden goose, but there's some helpful parts.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but just, I mean, again, we just want to be really clear, this is the town debt. So currently the school has no debt, we don't have any long-term debt out there. They're two separate entities. We're in the same town, and obviously there's a tax base, and we're pulling from the same tax base. But we can't control what continues to get spent on the town and how they
Right.
continue to run their debt service and how they continue to build projects or not build projects, right? Just wanted, I think, but it is helpful to look at
Right.
what's there.
Or if we
Yeah,
wanna
the
add
reason that
hours
there's
later.
nothing here for the school is because the school does not have any long-term.
Does not have any long-term debt.
Yeah.
So, looking at Brad and Gordon, with the pacer marching towards the September 12th, do you have everything you need from us? Is there anything else you want us working on or thinking about?
That was, the Fields was the big check mark for us.
What's that?
The Fields is the big check mark for us.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're gonna have some good feedback by the 12th.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Is that reasonable? I know you would like to have had it done 3 months ago, but being reasonable to the timeline we're in,
Well,
is
we
that
can-
really gonna cut it?
I think it's gonna be okay, because we're gonna move forward with some assumptions about, that there will be some sort of opportunity with the Fields. Just to, if we're looking at 5, 6 different
I think
options.
we'll know more after the 12th.
Sure.
Look at some
But-
options.
But in the meantime.
Right.
Just to put those options together, we have to make some assumptions that there's some flexibility.
Right.
So that's what we're gonna do. Just to keep the ball moving down the road.
Right, because we're not gonna have really our first feedback will be on the 25th from those folks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
We'll go with your assumptions on the
That's
12th, and then we'll
Yeah.
hear from them with more pointed recommendations 2 weeks later.
It's great. With the approval of the ed specs, we're in really good shape. And you guys have done a terrific job of moving quickly on that. You're a model community.
Yeah.
We don't always get it done so expeditiously. We try, but you guys have done a great job. You've got a terrific leadership team making that happen. so.
The magnitude of what's up on the site is ed specs for anybody who wants to know anything about education in Sunapee and what's driving the concepts that Vanwell brings back on the 12th. Look through the ed specs. It's incredibly informative, and it's a major accomplishment in a project like this to get that done, and it was done on time. Took a lot of work with Sean and Jody and their teams and with Russ. So thanks for that hard work, because we wouldn't be able to proceed without it.
So the ed specs really, in a nutshell, Brad, I mean, if you can boil it all down, they're what we need to continue on as far as where we need to be with the size of our classrooms, things like that. And we figured that all out with help of, all the staff, Jody and Sean, and we've actually made some sacrifices and moved things around so that we came to a the most
Yeah, let me,
realistic
but I do
situation.
much better, but I'm gonna give it a try, because you've trained me well here. So, we have current facilities, and those current facilities, this library has a square footage to it. If we were to build and or remodel, based upon new DOE specifications for square footage, and the amount of students that we think will be in this building, this library could grow or potentially shrink. And so, by going through the programs, what we currently have, we're not really adding a whole lot of new programs if you really look at the ed specs to what's there. We're saying, though, if you're going to, though, do an addition, a remodel, or a building, let's make a bigger library, because we feel this one's way too small. And the ed spec says, you know what, it is too small, because you're gonna have 300 kids, and for a 300 kid population, you should have this size library. So what it's doing is it's giving him, based upon our programs, the ability to go and start making drawings and putting things to scale based upon our enrollment numbers and our program numbers.
Right.
How's that?
I think it's great. I
wasn't
would
good.
even use, as a slightly different example, I think the special education program would be the best one, because what we found is not atypical, as it's quite typical throughout the state, which is that you've got a lot of programs right now that you're servicing with substandard spaces, okay? Or they're not teaching to the 21st century. So what we really looked at was, okay, the overall building's a pretty good size. It could use a little bit of reconfiguration and a very small amount of expansion in order to satisfy the actual need, or maybe even at the high school. Yes, at the high school.
Right.
Or maybe even to bring some out-of-district services back into district. And the leadership team, the educational side, did a really good job of qualifying that as to what's a nice to have versus what's a real need.
Right.
So that's been well documented. At the elementary school, that was quite different. I mean, I think the library is an excellent example of how it's just too small, and it's getting multiple uses at the elementary school. It's your computer lab, it's your library, it's your offices for your information sciences teacher. It's a lot of different things. Yeah, that example really proves out throughout the entire building through special services, special education, you name it. So yeah, we really documented that well, and I think it was highly restrained as to what the goals were. We've got some spaces that are smaller than New Hampshire state standard, which you've asked for to tailor it to your community, and it's slightly more modest needs than what the state standard might be. And we're in dialogue with the DOE to get those waivers in front of them to make sure.
We've talked a little bit about that. We may talk about it at the board meeting. So I think you talked at the last meeting about building our classrooms at 800 square foot at the elementary school instead of the 900, which is DOE regulation or recommendation. And we did that based upon looking at our current enrollment of classes. And so we figured, what's a good sized classroom for Sunapee? And we decided 18 in a class is accurate. And if you look at our numbers, and our numbers fluctuate between 42 in a grade to maybe as low as 22. We don't go to 18 in any grade level. We don't go to 20 in any grade level. So we really need 2 classes in each, and we figured 18 in each. If we stuck to our policy, and I think our policy in those grades stayed 22, I believe it was, I don't remember, it was 21, 22.
Depending on the year level.
Right? We could still build them at 800, But what would happen is the core areas of our room then would have to be designed bigger. So I think it went, if we did it 22, they went to 240 kids were gonna be in the building itself, like the calf of the library. But if we went for 18, that cut that number down to like 206 or 207, whatever it was. And so really looking at our population and our enrollment and forecasting it out and saying, hey, we're not gonna get to 240, but we got a good chance maybe of hitting 200. And so making sure that that core can handle 200. Also, with building classes of 18, we know we can put additional kids in those classes as well, right? So if we did get up to the 22s, we'd still be okay.
Also put some provisions in there for bubble years.
Right.
And then the 919
Right.
number.
Yeah.
But it's a
Yeah.
conservative approach.
It
I'm
is.
really happy
Yeah.
to see that. That's more my personal preference is how prudently can we possibly do this with the students we have and know, we're projected out to be steady at around 400, whatever the number is, right around 400 students for the next 10 years. That's what we're planning for. We're not looking to be any optimism, dreaming, growth, or whatever. If that's a side effect we have to deal with down the road, that's a great problem to have. That's not what we planned for. So I was pleased, even with the first draft, to see how conservative the teams were being with where we can look to the department to do, instead of 900, do 800, do those other things.
Yeah, exceptions. Yeah.
And Brad did a really good job guiding us
He did.
to what our needs are versus what our, we would like to have a sink in every classroom so the kids can wash their hands before they go to lunch. Well, a sink in every classroom is very expensive, that's probably not, we would like to have bathrooms in every classroom so that there's not loss of instructional time. Bathrooms in every classroom are very expensive, you need to have, so he did a good job of, and I'm reeling us in.
Well, the thing that was interesting with the bathrooms was part of that overall square footage,
Yeah.
right? And so if you build at 800, you're taking a chunk of that 800 square foot classroom and putting a bathroom in it, you're losing educational space.
40 square feet.
Right?
Right.
So it's really, it was good dialogue, and it was good work.
Well, the other part is that apparently everyone's used to having the modulars out in the parking lot for 20 or plus years. But when we had a meeting with, I think, 26 people in attendance, absolutely none of them were happy about the climate, the environment, how hot it was, what it was like. So
Yeah, I know.
this is luxurious compared to that meeting, and several people here at this one again, but it did help some people who commented after say, I didn't really think about what that environment is like for the kids and for the staff. So it's insightful, because that's what it feels like. If we had this meeting there now, it'd be even worse tonight, because of humidity. But we gotta, a priority of the project is getting rid of those modulars so that we have everybody in one safe building, so.
Absolutely. Anybody else got any other business they wanna bring forward?
Yeah, that's
All
good.
right.
Good to go?
Motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
Any discussion about that?
No.
All those in favor?
School board meeting at 6, if everyone wants to hang around.